Attila the Hun. I mean, just say the name. It sounds like a weapon, doesn't it? It just conjures up these images of thundering hooves, cities on fire. He was basically the bogeyman for the entire Roman Empire, a guy so terrifying people thought he was something supernatural. But was he just a monster? Or was there a real person, a man, behind that myth? Well, that's what we're gonna do. Let's peel back those layers of legend and find the real Attila.
Wow, just listen to this quote. "There where I have passed, the grass will never grow again." I mean, that's not just a threat, is it? That's a promise. It's a mission statement. This was pure, calculated terror, a kind of psychological weapon that spread fear way faster than his armies could ever march. And this is the myth of Attila. This is what made him one of the most feared men on the planet.
All right, so how are we going to track down the real Attila? First, we're going to look at that terrifying image he built for himself. Then we'll dive right into the heart of his empire, march with him to his greatest battle, and then, see how it all ended in a really strange and unexpected way. And finally, we'll tackle the big one. What is Attila's lasting shadow on the world? What's his true legacy?
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Scourge of God. We're going to see how he crafted this incredible reputation of fear.
So, the Romans had a nickname for him, Flagellum Dei. In Latin, that means the Scourge of God. Now, just stop and think about that for a second. They didn't see him as just some rival king or a barbarian chieftain. No, they saw him as a divine punishment. Like God himself had sent this guy to wreck their world. How on earth do you fight a man you believe was sent by God to destroy you? The answer is, you're just terrified.
And Attila played this up for all it was worth. His very presence was a weapon. There are accounts that say he would literally roll his eyes just to enjoy the terror he inspired. Can you imagine? It was pure theater, this performance of fear. And every great performer needs a great prop. His was the sword of Mars, the sword of the Roman god of war himself.
And the story of how he got this sword? Oh, it's a masterclass in propaganda. So the legend goes, a shepherd's cow gets hurt, right? The shepherd follows this trail of blood and what does he find? A sword, just sticking out of the ground. He digs it up, brings it to Attila, and bam! Attila immediately proclaims, "This is the sword of Mars. It's a sign from the heavens that I am destined to rule the entire world." See what he did there? He didn't just find an old sword. He created a legend. He turned a piece of metal into a divine mandate. With that sword in his hand, he wasn't just a king anymore. He was fate.
All right, Section 2, Forging an Empire. Because here's the thing about Attila. He wasn't just a master of terror. He was also an incredible builder. Behind all that rage was a really shrewd and calculating leader who was forging a massive empire. This wasn't just random smashing and grabbing. This was the construction of a whole new world order.
His rise to power was, well, it was lightning fast and absolutely brutal. He starts out sharing the throne with his brother Bleda, but let's be real, Attila was not the sharing type. So in 445, he does the unthinkable. He murders his own brother to become the one and only king of the Huns. It's a completely ruthless move for sure, but from a strategic standpoint, it was brilliant. In one move, he ended all internal fighting and made his power absolute.
And this right here, this is the central puzzle of Attila. You see, to his enemies, like the Romans, he was a monster, a breaker of treaties, a destroyer of worlds. But to his own people, he was a uniter. He was a just ruler who held court, settled their disputes, and brought peace to tribes that had been fighting for generations. He was, somehow, both the creator and the destroyer, all wrapped up in one person.
And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. We have an eyewitness account from a Roman diplomat named Priscus, who actually went to Attila's court. And he tells us that while everyone else at this huge banquet was feasting and drinking from cups made of gold and silver, Attila was using a wooden cup and a wooden plate. And his clothes? Totally simple, just clean. Think about what that tells you. This wasn't a man obsessed with the bling, with the spoils of war. This was a leader who lived like his men, who ate like his men. And that right there is how you earn unshakable loyalty. Okay, moving on to Section 3, Clash of Worlds. With his empire totally secure and his people united, Attila turns his gaze west, toward Gaul. In the year 451, he leads this enormous army right into Roman territory, setting the stage for a battle that would literally change the course of history. This was it, the Clash of Worlds, and the fate of Europe was hanging in the balance. I mean, just look at the lineup for this throwdown. It's incredible. On one side, you've got the Roman general Aetius leading the Western Roman Empire, and the Visigoths. These guys were bitter enemies, but now they're teaming up against a common threat. And on the other side, you've got Attila's massive coalition, the Huns, the Ostrogoths, and a whole bunch of other tribes he'd conquered. This wasn't just another battle. This was like the World War of the ancient world, a total clash of civilizations.
The battle itself was an absolute bloodbath. We're talking maybe hundreds of thousands of men dead in a single day. But when all the dust finally settled, one huge question was left hanging in the air. So, who actually won? And the answer, as you might have guessed, is it's complicated.
So yeah, who won? It really depends on your perspective. You could say it was a Roman tactical victory, right? I mean, they stopped Attila's invasion of Gaul and forced him to retreat, so mission accomplished. But you could also call it an indecisive bloodbath. The losses on both sides were just staggering. The Visigoth king was actually killed in the fighting. And then there's the fact that the Roman general, Aetius, let Attila's weakened army just escape, which seems like a huge strategic blunder. But maybe the most important outcome was this. For the very first time, Attila's aura of invincibility was broken. The myth was cracked. And that was a massive psychological blow.
Now for our fourth section, the final act. Because you see, a cracked myth isn't a broken man. Attila was far from finished. But his final chapter, well, it wasn't a blaze of glory and conquest. It was a really strange, unexpected end to a life defined by violence.
So, the very next year, 452, Attila is back. He marches his army down into Italy and he's heading straight for Rome. The city is basically defenseless. It really seemed like this was the end of the world for them. And then Attila just turns around and leaves. Why? I mean, why would the Scourge of God spare the biggest prize of all, the eternal city itself?
Well, historians have a few different theories. One is pure diplomacy. Pope Leo I bravely went out to meet Attila and somehow negotiated his withdrawal. Then there's the legend, which says that the apostles St. Peter and St. Paul appeared in the sky, threatening Attila with instant death if he touched Rome. But there are also some really practical reasons. Logistics. Attila's army was getting hit hard by famine and disease. And honestly, they were already carrying so much plunder from the rest of Italy, they were completely overstretched. It just wasn't practical.
So, Attila retreats, probably planning to come back later and finish the job. But he never got the chance. In 453, he decides to take another wife. And on his wedding night, the great warrior, the Scourge of God, the terror of the world, gets a really bad nosebleed and chokes to death in his sleep. Can you believe it? It's just such a bizarre, anticlimactic end for a guy whose life was nothing but epic violence.
And that brings us to our final section, Attila's lasting shadow. His death was as sudden and strange as his life was violent, and with him, his empire basically died too. But the shadow he cast over Europe? Oh, that would last for centuries. Just look at how quickly it all fell apart. In 453, Attila dies. His sons immediately start fighting each other for control. And by 454, just 1 year later, the tribes he'd conquered rise up, defeat the Huns in a major battle, and the entire empire shatters into pieces. It's pretty ironic, isn't it? The man who built this massive empire on sheer force of will couldn't even keep his own family from tearing it apart the second he was gone. So his empire might have vanished in the blink of an eye, but his impact? That was permanent. He absolutely shattered Roman power in the West. And in the chaos that he left behind, a new Europe, the Europe of the Middle Ages, started to form. The world he left behind was fundamentally, irreversibly changed.
So we're left with the big question. Was he a destroyer or a world shaper? Was he just a brutal conqueror who left nothing but ash and ruin in his wake? Or was he something more? A chaotic force of nature who, through violence and terror, cleared the way for a whole new world. You know, the grass did eventually grow back, but it grew back in a completely different landscape. And that, maybe, is the true, lasting legacy of Attila the Hun.